I got it. Good.
My name is Washam. I am the band director at Upper Merion High School here in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. At the close of this school year will be my 23rd year. I think what it really boiled down to was I enjoyed playing. I enjoyed doing it, to perform and play and learn. The man I was taking lessons from went to Curtis. He actually took lessons from Anthony Giuliotti, the guy in the Philadelphia Orchestra. And I auditioned, and Curtis is an extremely difficult school to get into, and I didn't get in. So then I went to the guy from the Philadelphia Orchestra for some lessons, and he said, "Did you ever consider education?" And so it began. I think I get to do something that I always wanted to do, and that is spend my day with music and playing music and having other people play music and so on and so forth. So in the end, my job is not really that much work. For me, it's not work at all. But when I got here in '87, there was one band director, and his band was 5 through 12, which is really bad. It's not a big district, but that's way too many kids spread over 2 buildings. You just couldn't see everybody. You couldn't really give lessons. You really couldn't help kids learn and so forth. You do what you can, but the problem is you can't do it. You can't do it. Because they're like, well, we don't have many kids in the band program. I said, you got to be kidding me. They said, we should be running 30 to 50 kids a grade in band in this district. Which obviously, when you do the math, there's nobody can teach that many kids. You can't, barely know them. Now we have 3 teachers doing band in this district. So we've got 3 people doing the job that I did by myself for 3 years, which I'm glad. And actually now you'll see a lot of schools in this area, unfortunately. A lot of these schools, in order to save money, they're cutting that out of their 4th grade. It's an easy way to save money. Just cut band instruments and string instruments out of your elementary school. There's no law that says you have to have them. So all those schools just cut their elementary people. There is just no question on the earth that the younger you start music, the better off you're going to be. I mean, and I don't have them on the top of my head, but there's study after study will say. And in fact, one of the kids did a senior project here recently that really your ability to learn music and languages and all that kind of stuff will start to peak somewhere around 12 years old. So if all of a sudden you start waiting to start a kid at that point, it's really rough. You just can't wait and start them later. It just doesn't work. And I think the big danger is most districts, it just goes away. They next year they go to the high school band. It's like, look at that. They still sound as good as they ever did. Well, no, they will. You won't see it happen until like 6 years later. So I think they cut these programs. The next year comes, nothing happens. You're like, oh, look, we just saved, $200,000 and there was no damage. And it's like, yeah, there was. You got a bunch of kids who don't know what they're doing. And I think the thing that kind of troubles me is that we, adults like myself, are very willing to say, these are the things that I had as a kid, but I'm not willing to give them to my own children. I've never seen anything so insane as that. All the students in the top 20 and the valedictorians and the salutatorians are all in band. And everybody's like, oh, well, you get all the good kids and, that you're just lucky for that. And all the smart kids are in band and that's because smart kids like band. And it's like, no, man, it's because band helped them get smart. The most important lesson I would hope kids would take out of studying music is the knowledge that they could express themselves musically. And I think that I would say the same thing again. I'll go to English now. That you have the ability to read English, to understand English, to get something out of it. But furthermore, you have the ability to express yourself through that language. And that ultimately is what most people want to do.